Well, very few days go by where I don't think of Metal Gear Solid 5, only because I just love the way that game played, and it's not like Death Stranding got anywhere close to it. Although you could kind of feel, kind of get that same kind of arcadey, chunky feel that I feel like Kojima Productions put into MGS5. And Phantom Pain's story is a complete mess. Like, I love Metal Gear Solid. I was going to get a Metal Gear tattoo at one point. And I was waiting for Metal Gear 5, and I was like, if this nails it, I'll get a tattoo. And it didn't nail it. And
I'll put Hideo Kojima on my body.
It's his little grin face. But I thought I'll get, I'll sort of see what Metal Gear 5's like, and if it hits the same way as something like MGS4 did or whatever, then I'll go ahead. And I love the way Phantom Pain plays. I think it's the best playing third-person action game ever. Like, I just think it's phenomenal. I love the way that you can experiment and get all these different ways you can infiltrate different enemy encampments and everything, and a big blow-up inflatable snake behind you if you want to distract someone. Whatever, it's great. And then it's just like, because of that, I wanted as much gameplay as possible, but there's only so many contracts you can do, and they never did any DLC for it. And the way that thing ends, where it's just like, you replay like one of the missions, and it just changes to like The Truth, and the name of the mission's called The Truth, and you just unlock this thing, you replay the same thing, and you get a different cutscene. And there's all the clone madness, there's all that, stuff that divided the fandom and everything. But I just wanted that game to keep going. I thought that it was just like, they could have done DLC packs for it. They could have let you rerun missions with different targets, like Hitman style or something, different soldiers to take out and extract and whatever. And it would just be that. I just wanted to just bathe in that game essentially forever. And I just think that it just ended too soon. That would be my shout. I don't know if you guys ever, I know Josh played a lot of Phantom Pain, but I don't know if he shared the same sentiment.
In terms of the story, in terms of content, I thought there was enough there to do. In fact, maybe a bit too much, because it's so lengthy that I never want to go back and replay it, because there's just so much like gameplay in there. But in terms of the story, I always wanted it to go into a remake of the first Metal Gear.
Oh God, yeah.
There were the rumors doing the rounds where the perspective might shift towards the end, and then suddenly you'd be Solid Snake going after the big boss you should be playing as. I was always waiting for that moment, which obviously never happened. It was probably never planned. But if it ended too soon,
that whole thing. Yeah, that rumor that like David Hayter was going to come back at the end and he would be like Solid Snake and Big Boss dies, or you fight him and then David Hayter would look at the camera and say, "Kept you waiting, huh?" Like, that would have been the best thing ever, but they didn't do it. Gameplay though is bloody brilliant.
So I think we're currently living in an era where video games are just really long and very time consuming, and during the last hellish year, I found it very difficult to focus on things and like actually just play single player titles, and just like, it's kind of like when you're reading a book and then it takes a while for you to get past that wall and then for the thing to actually click. And I've been craving a game that could be considered quote unquote too short for a while now. And I've spent most of my time playing multiplayer games. And in recent weeks, I've been playing Overwatch, and I'm a bit upset that I've come back to that and I'm really enjoying it. And now the content's ended and they're making a sequel. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll just keep playing. It's a great time, but whatever. I'm going to talk about multiplayer games that ended too soon. In particular, I'm just going to say Battlefront 2 right now, because the EA, right, I'm sorry. I understand that Battlefield 6 could be the most incredible, most epic, most ridiculous, like, you could put how many bloody Megalodon shark Easter eggs you want into like an ocean map or whatever. I don't care. I know it's going to be great, whatever. But the fact that you had to take my Star Wars baby away from me, that clearly had so much more potential, and you were like, oh yeah, we've this last DLC we've done, that's the last one in the game. That's our vision for Battlefront 2 is complete. It's like, no, it isn't. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. You're wrong. You tell lies, and I'm so annoyed about that game in its current state now, because we don't know that a third game is being made. We obviously have more EA Star Wars games coming, but it was just kind of like, you could have had a solid, after all that effort you went through in terms of just bringing it back from the brink, and then just being like, okay, no, this is it now, we're fine. And they're like, just to kind of reiterate how the state they left that game in, the last DLC was to bring the capital supremacy modes into the original trilogy era. And in that mode, the whole thing is that you can test command posts on the ground, and then you go to the enemy's capital ship and blow it up from the inside. They decided to end the game so prematurely that DICE didn't even have the time to add in the ship phase for that particular DLC. So it was just it's unfinished, and they're just like, our vision's complete. It's like, no, it isn't. You had other stuff planned, evidently, and like, given like all the hero designer for the game was saying that he wished they'd been able to add Ahsoka and Padme because they've been working on them, and then we've also had the creative director Dennis Bramwell. He left DICE after the game completed, so. Yeah, I can't believe that they just ended it when it clearly had so much more left to go. And they could make Battlefront 3 and it could be the best Star Wars game ever for all I care. But right now, I'm just kind of like, why? You had The Mandalorian Season 2, you had The Clone Wars Season 7, you've got more Star Wars stuff coming out this year, and you just decided, nah, we won't do anything with this anymore. Dumb. Big dumb movie, eh?
Resident Evil 3 Remake, it was somehow shorter than the original Resident Evil 3, which blows my mind to this day. And like Ewan, in my old age, I've been craving, shorter games, especially in this period where I could just get through a load and complete them and, play them beginning to end. And I thought, a shorter Resident Evil experience would have been well up my street. But for full price, £50, I think I bought it for, maybe even 55 for a 4-hour experience. For me, it just was not enough because it felt like DLC to Resident Evil 2, which I really, really loved. And there are rumors that it was originally intended to be more of an expansion than a full game in and of itself. And it really feels like they've just, copied a lot of the assets from that game and kind of streamlined the original so much. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the original PS1 game, is the Resident Evil game, for my money, that has the most scope for expansion. There are so many great ideas in that game that you can expand on with new technology. You can open up Raccoon City, you can make things more explorable, you can make Nemesis more unpredictable and more like Mr. X from Resi 2, but instead of, deciding to add their own spin to things, they cut content out, streamlined the Nemesis stuff to the point where it just happens so fast. Like his transformation, he just goes from point A to point B to point C so quickly you don't get to build a relationship with him. And it sucks because there are good things in that game. I think the performance of Jill in particular is so spot on. Like she is such a great character and worth following, but so much of it just feels like the worst parts of Capcom from like the early 2010s when they were like completely running Resi into the ground, and it's like, you were so close. You had Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2 Remake, and then you come out with this, and it's just a big step back, man, and just so disappointing. I think even if I bought it for a discount, I would still be a bit annoyed with what's actually there, because in my opinion, it's not much at all.
Me and you both threw £50 at it as well.
That's like Force Unleashed 2 levels of gameplay. What even?
Yes.
£5 for 4 hours?
4 hours?
Hey, if you want to get all the collectibles, that's maybe 5 hours. I don't know.
It's that, man, because it made me a hypocrite.
For a tenner per hour?
It is. For years, I've always been like, nah, it's all right, lads. It's the quality, not the quantity that counts. And then I got this game and I was like, maybe I was wrong. I don't know. Maybe I've lost touch with everyone. Also, as a quick final point, the Bourne Conspiracy, the Jason Bourne video game that happened years ago, that also ended too soon. That was sick, and just as it was getting good, it ended, and I was like, God damn it, I've never forgiven the developer.
QTE, the game, that was.
Oh, so good.
The Bourne QuickTime Conspiracy.
The Bourne event.
Originally, I was thinking about saying the reboot Modern Warfare campaign, because after Black Ops 4 decided to bin off a campaign entirely, I needed my Schlockfest every year. I love my COD campaigns for just something mindless I can play through in an evening. And Modern Warfare's campaign, if people pie of Call of Duty because it's Call of Duty, but if you've been playing it for so many years, as a lot of us here have, you know how good Modern Warfare was when it came out. So getting that campaign back in that whole new engine and all the new graphics, it's like, this is amazing. And the campaign felt like it was 2 acts out of 3, which is a shame. But I think for a slightly more recent game that I wish that ended soon, for me, that would probably be Half-Life Alyx. For multiple reasons. A, because the VR bar has never been set so high. For those of you who've got PSVR, I am hoping so much that when Sony reveal the PSVR 2 for the PS5, Alyx is one of the games that you get to play, because seriously, everything else you'll play, Boneworks, which is only on Steam, like Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, all of that stuff, it's going to be complete piss compared to Alyx. Like, that bar is so high.
Have you played No Man's Sky, mate? Because it's a high bar.
Yes, and it's terrible. It is absolute crap.
You pull the levers and everything, mate.
It doesn't matter. It's still crap.
There's 2 levers in some of the maps.
There's levers in Alyx. Come on. But only was that experience so incredible, and like there's been nothing else that I've played in VR that has obviously matched that bar. So it's so polished, it's so incredible. I've had my other games I go back to in VR, but nothing in that same ilk to Alyx. But also it ended too soon because of the ending of the game, the tease at the end of it, which I'm sure that all of you guys probably know. I know Osley does because he's played it, but like that tease as a Half-Life fan, waiting 12 years for this, 13 years for this new game. Finally getting that tease right at the end. They could have just gone straight in with what came next, but they had to finish it there. And as much as Alyx has given Valve a big kick up the bum, as Gabe Newell himself has said, for making more games, which is great for people like me to hear. Whether we get the sequel to Alyx anytime soon, I don't know. It could be another 12, 13 years. That might jinx it now. But I wish that game just kept on going. I really, really do. But even then, it's still incredibly replayable. It still made me cry the second time round, and I just want it to keep going, and I want all of you to get to play it one day.
There is a video game on Steam called Not for Broadcast, and you play as this vision mixer who operates the nightly news network. I think it's called the Triple N, basically, and it's like dystopian, olden times, 1980s, 1990s, I don't know which one it is. Just set in some sort of dystopia,
Osley Zuby.
a few years ago, something like that. And the game is basically, it's just like a glorified FMV in a way, and it's the only way to describe it really, and it's absolutely brilliant. Like, the story in it is absolutely mental. It's currently in early access, so there's not really too much in there, and it's ended too soon because there's not enough content on it just yet. They've literally just released episode 2 back in end of January, and it was so good, and they're releasing episodes which looks like every year, and hopefully in about like 2022, 23, 24, whichever it is, they're going to finish it. But it's that good that I need to continue on the story really. But waiting for a year for it is just, it's painful really. But at the moment the game's about like 5 hours long at best really, and you've got your decisions within the game also like impact the whole story of it. Like for this one example, there's adverts that you can play, and there's one of this like toy bear which is really dangerous apparently, and if you play that advert you get a secret little side thing to say sorry, we weren't supposed to show that advert, we really hope you don't buy this toy bear because it's bad for you, but please enjoy our broadcast. And honestly, like, there's a lot of different things going on with that game, and it's just bloody brilliant. I just want more of it, and I need it right bloody now.
You've spoken.
I've spoken. Give me Not for Broadcast right now.